The New York Sports Museum and Hall of Fame has another special award to hand out at this time. It is called the Founders Award, and once again, here is Bill Shannon to explain. Bill?
We have, over the last 4 years we've been holding this dinner, made a special award each year to someone who has made substantial contributions to sports in the United States and particularly in New York, in the New York metropolitan area. The winners of the award prior to this year have been Sonny Werblin, Pete Rozelle, and Bill Shea. We have tonight a very special honoree, a man with whom I'm sure you're all familiar. And I don't know that much can be said about his accomplishments that you're not familiar with. He's the founder of the New York City Marathon and numerous other running events. He has inspired all of us with his heroic personal battle against cancer. And he's, in many ways, the quintessential New Yorker. He was born in Romania. Immigrated to the United States, traveled around the country a little bit. With all due respect to Tommy Henrik, took a look at Cleveland and said, okay, I'll go back to New York. And has in fact become a New York City living institution and has elevated the sport of running around the world through his creation of the New York City Marathon and various other events, and its television and his tireless promotion of it. And there aren't very many people who can tell you things you don't know about Fred Lebow. But we happen to have one of them here tonight, and I'm now going to ask him to stand up for a couple of minutes and perhaps say some things about Fred that you may not be aware of. A man who's been involved in track and field and running events in this town for longer than he would care to have me mention. So I won't, because if I do, he'll eventually get even at the next affair we're both at. Stan Saplin.
I won't keep you here all evening talking about Fred Lebow, but believe me, I could. To simply say he founded or made the New York City Marathon doesn't tell half the story, because he made the sport of marathoning, not just in New York, but around the world. Fred travels ceaselessly, helps in other cities, councils, coaches. His innovative touch is just beyond belief. And I've had a career with him of saying, you can't do that, Fred, and of course he does it. He started with one roadway of the Verrazano Bridge for the marathon. He now has 3, and soon he'll get the 4th, I'm sure, and that race will become one of 35,000 people instead of 28,000. It's the biggest in the world, of course. You all must know, or you have some sense of the other innovative things he's done, the Fifth Avenue Mile, which closes Fifth Avenue on a Saturday afternoon, the mini marathon, the first race ever run, first road race ever run just for women. His accomplishments are endless. The New York Games is now the biggest invitation outdoor track meet in this country. Fred started it 4 years ago, and it's just first rate. He's also an innovator in style. Fred first came to a formal affair in tuxedo, and everybody in the room buzzed. He was wearing running shoes. He's doing that tonight, and he's been copied all over town. But the greatest thing of all, the greatest achievement, is his fight back from cancer. Running the 69th marathon of his career 2.5 years after he had been diagnosed as having brain cancer, with some saying he won't make it. Well, by God, he made it. And when he ran that race last November, with the lovely, gracious Greta Weitz at his side. The two of them running 5.5 hours, breaking down into tears at the finish. I always think back to the great line George Vesey wrote in the New York Times when he saw them both standing there crying, saying there have been many beautiful moments in the stadiums and arenas of New York, but this moment on a roadway in Central Park between a Romanian emigre and a Norwegian champion could stand for all of them. Fred Lebow can stand for all of them. He's tremendous. Fred.
There's so much to thank. I thank Bill Shannon. I thank the New York Sports Hall of Fame Museum. I do thank Stan Saplin for a wonderful introduction. I must say that I didn't realize the noble people here tonight on the dais. I didn't know till I was here what is this all about. Would I have known, I think I would have done much better. We have lots of sponsors, over a dozen. They all should have bought a table. And only one sponsor I can recognize here, our favorite pasta sponsor, Ronzoni, on table 5. And yeah, I feel guilty because I should have done better. But maybe next year I'll do better. But I want this award, which I get it myself, it really belongs to what makes the New York City Marathon and other events so well. It's the thousands and thousands of volunteers we get to help us. People always ask us, how do you get those volunteers? 10,000 for the marathon and hundreds for other races. Answer is T-shirts. That's the answer. And thank you very much.
Fred Lebow, ladies and gentlemen, he raced with Greta Weitz in the marathon, and like he has run the marathon so many years and built it to what it is today, an uphill struggle, but he finished.